Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Movies with GRose. It's been a minute. Last year we did this October horror bracket. We're gonna try it out one more time. Maybe it'll be a thing next year. It's gonna be 21 movies or 22 movies this year, not instead of 31. And it's a mixture of new movies and some classics that we haven't seen in a while. And before we start, I want to go over the review guidelines, the ways that we're rating the movies,
Like our scoring system.
the way we're doing our scores. How
Yeah,
are you, by the way?
I'm good. I'm excited. I love October. I love GRose. It's gonna be awesome.
Okay. So the way we're doing this, we're reviewing the movies the same way we did last year. We do it this way to try to level the playing field as much as possible, give every movie a chance to shine. So there's three categories. There's entertainment value, and we score that out of 4 points. There's scare slash kill value. We score that out of 4 points. And then there's production value, which is kind of like writing and acting, and we score that out of 2 points. Most horror movies don't have great writing or acting,
Right,
and
that's
so
not why we love them.
right, so we're trying. That's the category that's weighted less to try to kind of level the playing field. Um, all right, so give me one moment. I just want to make sure that we're live properly. Okay. All right, well, without further ado, I'm going to turn down our music. And we're going to start with Pearl. Pearl is a newer movie that just came out. It's a prequel to the movie X, which came out a couple of years ago.
No, this year.
It came out this year?
Yeah,
Well, X was an interesting movie. What did
yeah.
you think of X, by
I
the way?
liked X. It was like what I wanted Texas Chainsaw to be, I think. It had a better storyline,
Okay.
weird house, hillbilly horror, that kind
Okay.
of thing.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I'd probably give X like a 7 out of 10.
Hmm.
But let's talk about Pearl. Pearl was a decent movie. I really wanted it to be better than I ended up enjoying it.
Yeah.
Um, let's hold on. Thank you for catching the no sound. It's when we switched over to this view. Okay, we're good now. I don't know where. I'm just gonna start over. As Natalie said, Mia Goth, this main actress, she was a co-writer and a co-producer,
Yeah.
and she's kind of the central piece of this film. She's what makes it all work. Um, she is the redeeming part of this film.
Hmm.
Personally, I feel that this is one of the greatest acting performances I've seen in a very long time. Like she
Do
blew
you
me
feel
away in
that though
this.
just because of the ending, or do you feel that way because of the whole
All the way
movie?
through. I think all the way
Okay.
through she was like absolutely stellar.
Because
Um,
I don't know if I agree.
I don't know. I felt that it was like it's she kind of had her Christian Bale moment with like American Psycho. Like I got very like American Psycho,
Yeah.
subdued killer. Um, but the biggest downside of this movie is, and I said it in my letterbox review, is that they kind of tell you everything you need to know in the first 15 minutes and then they just repeat it over
Yeah,
and
that's
over
why she
again.
lost points for me because it was so repetitive.
It's so repetitive. The kills aren't even that good. Um,
Mm-mm.
Real
It's
quick, I
just
wanted to shout out Jimmy, Sam, and Armand for joining us. Thank you so much. There is not text to speech, so yeah. Anyway, let me dive into my
yeah, you're
scores.
scoring.
So entertainment value, I gave this movie a 1 out of 4. I felt that it was very boring.
Actually?
Yeah, I thought it
Oh
was
wow.
the one that I gave it is for the acting. I felt that
No, acting is in
I know,
production.
but I'm just saying, like, entertainment wise, I think the only reason I had any
Okay.
entertainment was because of her performance. Her character was
Yeah,
decent, but it was kind of a boring movie.
I guess so.
Um, Scares and kills, I gave a 2 out of 4, just because there's like a couple good scary moments.
Mhm.
Um, but again, pretty weak. And then writing and acting, I gave writing and acting a 2 out of 2 just because of the acting alone. And
Yeah.
if I guess if we're saying production value for that category, I will also say like the style of this film was
Oh, that's
incredible.
yeah, I loved the style and I think that's I gave it a 2 out of 2 in production also because I said it probably doesn't deserve it, but I just really loved the opening credits were so great and the ending credits were so
And just
great.
like the color of the film, the place that
The
it's set,
music,
it's
everything about it.
yeah, it takes place in what like the 30s or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's just the way that it's shot is very interesting. It's very stylized. The director clearly has a vision for it. It's just from a script standpoint, it's pretty repetitive and boring and flat. And there's really nothing special or twisted turny about it.
No, definitely not.
So I gave it a 5 out of 10 as my horror score.
Sure.
Do you want to break down yours?
Yeah, so ours are like pretty much the same. I also gave Scares and Kills a 2 out of 4 because I didn't think anything was too like incredible, but I thought like the last kill was probably my favorite. I
Okay.
thought that was pretty demented. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil. But I gave it a 3 out of 4 for entertainment because I thought
Really?
it was really fun to watch. I liked the music, I liked the style of it. I liked her a lot.
Maybe I should bump it.
I think
Okay,
you should. I
I'll
think
bump
you're being
mine up
very
to
critical.
2 out of 4.
Yeah,
How
I
about
think you
that?
should because I think that 1 out of 4 is just not right because I really enjoyed every part of it. So that puts my score at a 7 out of 10.
So mine's at a 6. So you
So we're pretty
you
close.
scored this one above me, which is
I
interesting
did
because
in
walking out of the
entertainment.
movie, I liked it more than you did.
I know, but I've thought about it more and she's British, and so I think that the way that she sounded not British at all is very fun. So extra point.
Real quick, let's look at the chat. Yes, Kid Cudi was a producer on this because he is
He's
one
an
of the main
X.
characters in the other movie. So there's a
Yes,
movie called X, which takes place in like the 60s, and Kid Cudi plays a porn actor in that
because
movie, and
that's
you
where you
see
see his
his
wang.
dong.
Yes.
This movie is a prequel. Kid Cudi is not in it, but he's just a producer on it. So, anyway, um, 6 out of 10. You gave it a 7.
I did.
All right. Well, that was Pearl. Would you recommend seeing Pearl?
I would recommend seeing it, but I think that you should watch X first if you have not seen X. I guess you could watch Pearl before X
Because it is,
because it is a prequel, but I
Um,
think it was more fun seeing it in the way we saw it.
okay, so we won't go to the bracket just yet, because Pearl is going to be going up against Orphan First Kill.
Yeah.
So real quick, last year for our bracket, we talked about the original Orphan,
Mhm.
which is a classic movie from 2009. Um, I feel like a lot of people our age saw it in high school. Like it kind of came out in
Yeah.
those years where like we were finally getting enough freedom to go to the movies and see an
So
R-rated
I
movie
didn't
with some
see this in
friends.
theaters. I saw it probably not till I was like, because I wasn't in high school in 2009,
I mean, I'm just shooting in the dark
but
here.
I like probably in like 2015 I watched this, which would have been like my senior year.
Okay.
So, but
Um,
still that age.
and Orphan the original Orphan was fine. I mean, I liked it on rewatch. It's kind of interesting. It
Yeah.
does like some unique stuff. For those who haven't seen Orphan, spoiler alert for the original movie, it's about an adult woman that has a genetic disease that makes her look like a child,
Mhm.
and so she gets adopted by a family, pretends to be a child, and then ends up murdering a bunch of people because she's sexually attracted to the father.
Yeah.
Okay, which one weird thing about the movie, the original movie Orphan, is that the actress was a child pretending to be an adult,
Mhm.
pretending to be a child. So like the sex stuff was really weird. There's nothing like like super gross, but
No.
just the vibes were fucked. And the actress that was in the original movie, she grew up in real life and she wanted to make a sequel or rather a prequel. And so Orphan First Kill is an origin story. It's a prequel to Orphan.
I don't feel like it's an origin
It
story.
barely is. We'll get to that.
Okay.
I'm just setting it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but so she's older in real life, but she's supposed to be younger in the movie universe. Kind of weird. Anyway, this movie just came out in 2022. We saw it in theaters. Um, as Natalie alluded to, it wasn't really the origin story we were promised,
No,
but
because within the movie they're like, before this happened, like
yeah,
it was like, oh wait, I thought this is what I was paying for.
yeah,
But I'll just jump into it because I
yeah.
wanted to go
You're
first.
starting off this round.
I gave it a 2 out of 4 for entertainment. The story was fine. I thought it was followable, but it was just like boring. But the twists were really fun.
What was the number you gave it?
A 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. Okay,
Yes, but I think I gave it the 2 because I liked seeing her do the role again. I thought that was, and she was obviously the best character.
sure.
She was the best part of the movie. For scares and kills, I gave it a 2 out of 4. But to be honest, I don't actually remember any of the scares or kills. We watched this. When did we see this? Can you pull it?
Oh,
It was a while ago.
I don't know.
Um, like when it came out, we went and saw it
We saw this
August
August
27th, so
27th.
like a month ago. And I don't remember anything, but I went to IMDb and read the parent guide, and the kills sounded pretty crazy. So I think for that, I gave it a 2 out of 4. And then for production, I gave it a 1 out of 2 because I liked the concept a lot, but the writing was really bad.
Yeah.
And I think the mom character was horrendous.
Yeah,
Like,
the acting
took
was
me
pretty
out of the
shaky.
movie completely because she was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your final
So
score?
my final score is a 5 out of 10,
5 out of 10.
which is high, I feel like.
It's not terrible. I mean, that's what this series is. Someone in the chat said, "How old is she supposed to be in the movie?" Well, she's
I think like 7, like
yeah, like
7 or 8,
yeah. So like the girl is 7 or 8. That's how old she's supposed to look. But
yeah,
then she's like in real. She's actually like
like
in her
25 or something.
yeah, something like that. And it's funny because in this movie, there's a lot of scenes where they have to get creative with the filming and do either like forced perspective or, shoot with a body double
Yeah.
because she has to be short. But in real life, she's a normal
Right. So
lady.
like either the actors were wearing like huge platform shoes or like
Yeah.
it clearly was a child. And
Yeah.
that was also very jarring because I don't think they did that very well. And
And she
so it
looks
took
older.
me out of
I
it.
mean, you
Yeah,
can't you,
yeah.
you can't escape that. I mean, she was a child. She was literally a child in the first movie. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, they did a pretty good job. I mean, she doesn't. I mean, she looks old,
No,
but
yeah, she looks old and then like the mom looks the same age as her. And so like that was like very weird.
um. So yeah, let me go to mine.
So 5 out of 10 was mine.
Entertainment wise, I gave this a 3 out of 4, because
Wow.
I felt that it was about as entertaining as it could be up until I would say the last 30 minutes kind of sucked. The last act of this movie was kind of terrible, but the first half of the movie is really good, where it's like her in the insane asylum, her getting adopted, like everything in the first half is super entertaining, and then the second half of the movie kind of falls off. Um, Varun, sorry you missed the beginning of the stream. We have a couple different criteria here. So Orphan 2, I'd give a 3
You're
out of
not going to
4 for
explain it to him?
entertainment. No, because we already explained. He'll
Oh,
figure it out.
sorry, Vern.
Um, scares and kills, I gave a 1 out of 4 because I don't remember a single one.
No, why don't I remember any of the
They're terrible.
kills?
The kills weren't good. It
But
wasn't a
when I read
scary
about them,
movie.
they sounded crazy.
It wasn't a scary movie though.
I
There's nothing
guess.
scary about this movie.
No.
There's very few kills.
No, it's like an action thriller.
Yeah, so 1 out of 4 for scare slash
Yeah.
kills, and then writing slash acting, I gave a 1 out of 2 because it was whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost gave it a 0 out of 2 just because I don't.
No, but it's a cool concept. And
The,
it's sad because we were so excited for this one, I feel
yeah,
like.
I think conceptually it was more interesting than it turned out being. Sam, yes, 0 could be an option.
Hmm.
Um, so my total score is 5 out of 10. Yours was
Me
as
too,
well,
yeah.
right?
So we can go to the bracket, though.
So let's go to our bracket.
So prequels lined up on accident. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're right, because we did randomize this when we pumped it into the
Wait, but so
bracket.
these are going to be just against Barbarian?
Correct. Yeah, there's a few
Oh,
movies that
wow.
just get a freebie because of the way that the bracket works out.
Sure.
So uh,
Pearl wins.
Pearl wins,
Yeah.
which is surprising because Pearl wasn't that great of a movie, but I think
But it was better than Orphan.
conceptually
She
it was
got
better.
lucky, yeah.
Well, we have our first winner, Pearl. That'll be going up against Barbarian later. Um, not too
Exciting.
bad.
No,
We
good
ripped
start.
through those. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, we're doing this live, so you're going to hear us interact with chat. I probably should have said that at the beginning. Um, for those that are just joining us, we have special criteria. Instead of just doing it out of 10, we try to rate it based on different things. The next movie we're going to talk about is going to be Barbarian. Again, a movie that came out very recently.
Hmm.
We saw it in theaters September 11th.
Ooh, never forget, bro.
Never forget. Um, I'll take the lead on this one. And I'll set it up by just saying that this was a movie that we saw the previews for time and time again. We won't spoil it, but
Oh, I want to so bad though.
I know, right? And the preview for it was really good. Like the actual trailer for the movie was really interesting. And so,
Wait, can we interrupt?
yeah,
There's a comment that says, "Have you seen Dave the Barbarian?" Yes, I absolutely have, and it's all I could think about when going to see this movie. Do you
I
know what that is?
no.
It's an old animated like Disney show that was on at like 4 a.m.
Okay.
I know
Well,
the theme song. I'm singing the theme song in my head right now.
well, shout out to
Incredible.
Dave the Barbarian.
Incredible.
This movie is called Barbarian. Weird title for sure. Let's go ahead and switch over to our desktop capture. So, Barbarian, as you can see from my letterbox review, I quite liked this movie. This is a movie that everyone's going to tell you to go in blind. We're not going to spoil much about it, but the initial hook to the movie is that a woman goes to an Airbnb in a really shitty area of town, and when she arrives, she learns that the Airbnb was double booked. And so another guy is staying there, played by Bill Skarsgård. He's the guy that played
Pennywise,
Pennywise,
bro.
so he's got
Yeah.
a real creepy face. Um, and so she shows up. It's in the middle of the night, and he very politely invites her to stay with him. And I think the reason that I liked this movie so much is because it's really, really, really well written. It's really
Yeah.
believable
Oh, yeah.
because you hear the premise and you think, what a fucking idiot. I would never stay with this random person.
Hmm.
But the way that it's written and the way that it unfolds is so realistic.
Right, because this is not spoilers because it's in the trailer. But it's like she is hesitant. She is afraid. But
And she
then
checks all the
she
boxes.
does. She's like not stupid. She's not a bad, because sometimes you watch horror movies and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And not with her. Like she's
No.
doing everything
Yeah.
right. It's just written so well where you're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I would probably
Yeah.
stay, you
And the
know?
guy's like, I'll stay on the couch. She gets the bedroom. They wash the sheets.
Right.
She locks the door. Like everything about it is very, very
And it's
well
set up so
written.
well because you get kind of fucked vibes, but then you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
I get it. Oh, so
And
good.
then, without spoiling anything, halfway through the movie takes a pretty hard turn, and the movie goes in a completely different direction that you wouldn't expect it to go
Yeah.
in. And that's and that element of the movie is also really, really interesting and really,
Yeah.
really well done.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things at the end that I didn't love, which is why I gave this movie a 7, but
Uh-huh.
on Letterboxd, I mean, a
Oh,
7 on
okay.
Letterboxd. So with all of that being said, let me go into the actual criteria. Entertainment value, 4 out of 4. This movie was
Hmm.
as entertaining as a horror movie could get.
I said these. Can we just go together since I said
Yeah,
the
go
same thing?
for it.
I said the exact same thing. I said everything was fun, but it was also like terrifying. I like genuinely had moments where I was like, I'm unwell. Like it made me feel really yucky. Um, I thought that the plot line, whenever it gets kind of fatiguing, like something crazy would happen, and I'd be like, oh, okay, like I'm not bored anymore. It was a really cool movie. I've not seen a movie like this probably in a minute.
Yeah, it was super well done.
Yeah.
Very, very entertaining. It's definitely not boring by any
No,
like,
no, no, no.
and it's changing pretty frequently. Like I said, because of the
Yeah.
structure of the
Well,
film, you
that's what I
never
said.
really get bored.
Right. Like when you start to maybe be like, okay, like what's next? Then it's like, holy
Yeah.
shit. How long was this movie to interrupt you again?
This movie is 103,
So it breaks my 90-minute rule, but it doesn't
but just
matter.
barely.
Yeah.
Um, Scare slash kills, I gave a 3 out of 4.
Oh my god, me
It's like
too.
almost perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's super scary.
Right.
Um,
The very first kill is like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, the first yeah
It's the
yes the
first kill.
first kill of this movie is the best kill I have seen in years.
Yeah.
And it's not just the way that he's killed; it's the build up and then the payoff, and it's so sudden and interesting.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to spoil the
I
movie,
know.
but
Watch the
the
movie.
first kill, that first turn, is so phenomenal. The only reason I wouldn't give this a 4 out of 4 for scare slash kills is because in the third act, towards the end, I think some of the scary elements become a little goofy.
So that's exactly, and we could kind of talk. I don't even want to say it, but you can read it. And so I think that like is getting overused recently,
Yeah,
and so that's why I docked at a point, which sucks for you guys because I don't want to spoil anything. But that part, I was like, okay, I'm over it.
yeah,
I know exactly the part you're talking about
yeah.
where it's like, stop.
It gets a little weird towards the end.
Yeah,
Um, and that, but I mean, it's impossible to end a horror movie.
it is.
And then for writing slash acting, I gave it a 1 out of 2, but it maybe it deserves a 2 out of 2. The acting was good,
Yeah,
and the concept was interesting,
yeah, I
so
agree.
maybe I should bump it up
So
to a
I
two out of
gave it a
two.
2 out of 2, and I literally said maybe I'm just hyping it up too much, but I think that it was a great movie. And I think that, like what we had said, like the beginning when they're just talking, it feels like I'm just imposing on these two people's
Yeah,
conversation.
Bill
Like
Skarsgård is amazing. The main actress is pretty good
she's
as
really good.
well.
What is she in anything else?
Georgina
But it
Campbell.
truly felt like it wasn't written. People were just talking, and I think that is like the best.
Yeah, I've never heard of this lady, so um,
But I said it. I want to take a half point off. We don't do half points. I would
no.
give it a 1.5 because for what Tyler said, it gets like super cheesy at the end, and then I mean, his name is there, but then a character comes in who I really love, and so
But I
that's
mean, like
very
for a
fun.
horror movie, the writing and the acting and like the
It's
production,
forgivable.
this is about as good as it could be,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's. I mean, because we're not talking. This is not like a Nope level movie.
Right.
Like it's a fun October horror movie.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But it's good. I would highly recommend everyone go see it. So my score on the bracket is 9 out of 10. What's yours?
9 out of 10.
So if we go over to the bracket, and this is going up against Pearl,
It wins.
Barbarian wins.
Obviously, I would do that any day of the week though.
So Barbarian is our first
Semi-final? No,
semifinals.
quarterfinals.
Yeah, Barbarian
Quarterfinals.
is into the quarterfinals. Um, could you act in a horror? If so, which one would you act in of the ones you've discussed so
Oh, I
far?
would be in
Could
Pearl.
I be an actor in a
I
horror
would be in
movie?
Pearl. Pearl would be easy. I'd be one of those girls who sat in the line.
Yeah, Pearl would probably be the easiest one to be an actor in, or maybe like Orphan First Kill,
You
like
want to
as
be
one
an
of the crazy
orphan?
people. I could just
Will you adopt me?
be, yeah, so maybe that. Um,
I
good
don't want to be
question.
in Barbarian. I think even filming Barbarian would be horrifying.
So, we have two more movies to discuss today.
Yes.
The next movie we're going to talk about, you're going to start us off,
Yeah.
but just to set it up, Jordan Peele is my favorite current horror director. He's really interesting. I thought that Us
Is that
was a
fair?
letdown.
Yeah. I don't think Us was very good.
Us was a letdown, but Get Out was
Yeah.
fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. And this movie cemented him as one of. I think
Yeah.
the way that he blends genres is very different. He doesn't
Yeah.
really. No one else is doing that. And we were both actually hesitant to even put this movie on the list because I would
Because
say
it's
it's
so good.
more of a real movie than most
It's a hereditary.
horror movies are.
Yeah.
Because this movie blends so many genres, it's kind of difficult to even put it in horror. Um, but next, we're going to talk about Nope. And Natalie is going to kick us off. Let me get it queued up here. And why don't you take it away?
So obviously, I gave Nope a 4 out of 4 for entertainment. I don't think there was a single second of this movie where I was like bored. Like I didn't want this movie to end. I thought it was fantastic. It was so fun, and I want a cactus Slurpee so bad. I cannot stop thinking about the cactus Slurpee. For scares and kills, obviously a 4 out of 4. It seems like a lot of people have seen this movie, so I don't feel as bad talking about it. But the house scene where it's raining blood on the house,
Yes.
stop. Like that is so good.
Yeah.
That is the best imagery I've like ever seen.
Yeah.
The inside shot is so scary where they're all
Yes.
getting eaten.
Yes.
Ugh, horrifying. So
Yes.
scary. And just the sounds, like when the horses are in the sky.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like it's just eerie. It's
Yeah.
so even like that little joke where like the kids dress up and hide in the barn. That was scary as fuck.
Yeah,
Like
let me hop in
because you gave it a 4 too.
yeah, just so that we can kind of do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Entertainment wise, I agree. 4 out of 4, perfect entertainment. I wasn't bored at all. I can understand why some people might have
Wait,
been.
who's Lon Juan?
I'm assuming that's Lonnie. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's
Okay.
Lonnie, but I really don't know. I don't know who else it would be. entertainment wise, 4 out of 4. I thought it was super entertainment. I think the reason that some people didn't find this movie entertaining is because Jordan Peele is known as being this guy with like these really strong themes and messages, and I think this movie doesn't hit you over the head quite as hard. And at
I
the
talk
end
about
of the
that.
movie, they don't tie everything together quite as well, and we'll touch on that in writing, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But entertainment wise, I thought it was awesome. I was super
Yeah.
enthralled the whole time.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then scare slash kills, I gave a 3 out of 4, just because I thought the horror design was really, really good. Like,
Your friends are being so silly. I'm
sorry,
sorry.
um, the design of the actual ship was super cool. The way that you could hear screaming in the distance when it appeared, the way that
Yes.
it would dip in and out, the thing with the cloud,
The
like,
cloud where he was like, that cloud hasn't moved in a month.
yeah,
What? I hate that shit.
all of the horror elements, the design of the ship
Yeah.
was spot on.
It wasn't a ship.
But there, well, I wasn't gonna spoil the movie
Oh,
because we're not doing spoilers.
it's a ship.
But I can't give it a 4 out of 4 just because I don't feel it's a super scary movie. I think it's just designed well. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do hear you, but I
Like the
don't agree.
scariest part is the barn, and it's a red herring.
No.
The aliens in the barn.
You think that's the scariest
I think
part?
that's the scariest part of the movie. Anyway, writing and acting. Go ahead.
What about you didn't even talk about the monkey.
What about the
That
monkey?
shit's the shoe.
That's the scariest part to
The
you?
it's I don't like monkeys. So
Oh yeah,
yes, that
Natalie's
was
scared of
very scary.
monkeys,
I'm
so I
really
guess that
scared of
checks
monkeys.
out.
That's like my nightmare scenario. But so for writing and acting, obviously I gave it a 2 out of 2.
2 out of 2.
This is a
Yeah.
perfect movie for me. I said it's super well cast. Everybody was so good. Everybody was like great at
Yeah.
their role. Um, oh shoot, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not a person who watches a movie and leaves and thinks, the message was so good in that. That's all Tyler. And so, like, not even knowing that there was that little message about, like, animal cruelty or whatever in Hollywood, didn't get that at all. I didn't get it until you said anything to me. Still thought it was a great movie.
Well, it's
So,
not the animal cruelty one is kind of a lower one. I
I do
think I
not
would
read
say the
below the
real
surface.
message of the movie is that our society is obsessed with creating content from tragedy. I mean, we can see that with the Dahmer
And
series
true crime.
and true
So, but,
crime.
like, I love that shit.
And it's the idea that we take a tragedy like this monkey incident and we turn it into an SNL skit, right? And then when we
Yeah.
watch the guy who actually went through the experience, instead of just explaining how terrifying and traumatic it was, he explains the SNL skit. And he's in great
Sure, it
detail
talks about, like, how we deal with trauma and shit.
and how we mask trauma with entertainment.
Right. But like I didn't when I was watching the movie that wasn't in my head like, "Oh,
And that's
this is
fine.
it." I was watching it Aliens, you know?
I think
Like
and I think that
very
was on purpose. I think this is a film. I think he wanted to take a step away from the super in your face, what's the message, and make that kind of a background thing
mhm.
and make this more of a cinematic spectacle. And he did. And I think the first kill with the stuff raining out of the sky was super good. The
Yeah, dude.
screaming of them above, the
So
people getting sucked up, the
scary.
blood, like the cloud, there's all these little elements that are really well designed.
The
And so
monkey.
writing and acting 2 out of 2 for me as well. Let's read
S-
some of these comments. Lonnie's going off. He said, "The cloud in the sky was by far the most unique thing in a scary movie he's seen in a while."
I agree.
I agree. He said, "The monkey wasn't scary at all because we didn't get enough of it. It was left to the viewer to assume what happened."
So the
Natalie's just
worst.
afraid of
I'm really
monkeys,
scared of monkeys. I
just in
think they
general.
are like the most horrifying thing on the planet, and so like immediately
But
it's a no.
for me, as someone without a monkey phobia, I didn't watch those scenes like I wasn't.
Chillin'. It was scary for you still.
But
It's
what?
scary
No,
is
no,
a
no,
weird
no, no,
word.
no.
I think
What I'm saying is when I watched those scenes, I wasn't under the impression I was supposed to be scared
why?
because it
When
felt
he's
more
sitting
like
and chilling and then he goes,
it felt more like an accent. You know what I mean? Like,
"No, you're crazy. Everybody is dead or dying on set except you, and you're hiding under a table, and the thing that is killing everyone now knows exactly where you are, and there's nobody there to help you. That's not fucking scary. And then it gets fucking obliterated right in front of you. That's not scary. That shit's scary." Next.
let's read some more comments.
I fucking hate monkeys.
Steve said there's a lot of themes to this movie, and I got none of them until after.
Same.
And he said he loved that. I think that's true. I think a movie that makes you that sticks with you after
Yeah,
is a good movie.
if you're still thinking about a movie after you've left the theater, then it's probably a good
Or the
movie.
next day when you wake
Yeah.
up and you're chilling and you're drinking your coffee and you're still thinking about the movie and
That's
what
what
was it
movies are
trying,
for,
what
right?
was the point of the monkey scene, you're thinking to yourself afterwards, and then you realize, oh, maybe it, tied in a different way. Jimmy said, I was gonna bring my new monkey over for Thanksgiving. Now I gotta leave Bobo home. That's
You do.
true,
You
you
do
do.
have to leave Bobo home.
Steve said, I thought it was scary seeing it straight from the kids' perspective and the people hiding in the audience doing nothing. That's
Yes.
true. It was cool
That's
that we saw it from the
dreadful.
kids' perspective and not
Yes.
just like an overhead shot. I'm not going to read Varun's message. Lonnie said, I feel like we were thinking way too much about the movie and it's not a rewatch. Well, you know what? You don't have to rewatch it. Personally, I thought this movie was superb. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But for the horror bracket, it is sitting at a 9 out of 10 for me. Where is it sitting for
It's a
you?
10 out of 10 for me. It is. I really like this one.
So it's going to be going up against another movie, but let's just take a quick breather. The chat is popping off
It's
right
so
now.
funny.
Kiki's voice was odd. He said, "Jeez, a lot of opinions about Nope."
I thought okay, Lonnie, I believe this is you. If it's Ronnie, Varun, everybody who said Lon one, I agree. I thought because I've like Kiki Palmer is like forever True Jackson VP in my head. So I was like, I don't really know how this is gonna vibe. I've never seen her in like a serious role. And so I think that it was really fun to see her in a serious role, and I think she killed it. I think she was fantastic. Voice was weird. Voices are always weird, but I think that she did really, really good.
All right. Um,
Oh, that does suck.
um,
You can't catch a break.
you can't catch a break with that chick. All right. So the next movie, the last movie we're talking about tonight, this is a short episode. We're only at 37 minutes. The last movie we're talking about tonight is called The Ritual. The Ritual is a Netflix original movie,
Exclusive.
exclusive. It came out in
I don't think
2017.
it's a Netflix original. I think you are wrong with that.
I think I'm right. It's a Netflix original that came out in 2017.
Okay.
I had never seen it. Natalie
This was a
had seen
rewatch
it,
because I watched it in my college dorm, all alone.
and I liked this movie. I felt that it was a modern retelling of The Blair Witch. It's not a found footage film,
I don't
but
get that vibe.
it's is it a found footage? I don't
No,
think it is, right?
no.
But it's very similar in the sense that a lot of the movie is just this group of guys, this group of people that kind of just get lost in the woods. And not a like I don't know. I think I compared it to Blair Witch just because
Because
it's in the
woods.
middle of the woods,
Same.
and there's a lot of moments in the night where they're screaming for each
It
other.
is it is a mystical woods that locks you in it though. So I guess that's kind of like
Yeah,
Blair Witch. They
but
can't escape. And there's a creepy house.
this movie, I think what makes it better than most is that the every single horror movie, and I almost forget this, but every time I start a horror movie, I remember that the trailer story is not the actual story to the movie, and the movie starts and I realize, oh, there's a plot line here that I have
The
to pretend to care
trailer. What do
about.
you mean?
So like when you go to see a trailer for a movie, they
But
show
we
you.
didn't see the trailer for this.
I know, but I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay,
in
sorry.
general,
Okay,
when you
sorry.
see a trailer for a horror movie, it shows you the scary stuff, and then you go and
Oh,
you watch the movie, and it reminds you that, oh, there's an actual plot line
yeah, it's
here,
not just
and then the
scary.
horror stuff is like secondary.
Afterthought,
The
yes.
actual plot line for this movie about trauma and like their backstory and the
Yeah.
way that their characters interact is really good.
Yes, that's yeah. Do you
And
want to
that's what makes the movie.
I agree. I'm going to start again. For well, we let's go at the same time like we've been doing. For entertainment, I gave it a 2 out of 4 because this movie's only 90 minutes, which if you're new here, my rule is if a movie's longer than 90 minutes, it's automatically down a point. I horror movies should not be longer than 90 minutes. Um, this one is 94 minutes, so it technically fits the thing, but it feels long in the middle. And I think that's not its fault.
Mm,
It's a woods movie, so
mm,
they are just kind of circling the woods and like biting the whole time. And so I don't love that. Noted, Varun. Um, I think that it has good pacing though. So I'm a little confused why it feels so slow, but also has steady pacing throughout.
yeah.
And I love nature horror. Like I love
Yeah.
like The Descent and like
Yeah, me
all of
too.
that. I love
Me
nature
too.
horror, and
Yeah.
there's not enough of it, and it's sad.
Yeah. Entertainment wise, I gave it a 3 out of 4, just because I really, really loved like the dynamics of the characters, and I felt that
Yeah,
in the first half especially, like it kind of it moves really well, and the back half is a little
it's
goofy.
weak. It's weak.
But yeah, for entertainment, I didn't find it super boring until the end of the movie. So I
This is also my second watch, so I feel like it's
yeah,
different
it is different. Yeah,
this
for
way.
sure. Um, so the next category is scares slash kills. What would you give scares and
I gave it a
kills?
2 out of 4.
Me
Again, I
too.
said it's my second watch. But I think that the second you see the like monster,
Hmm.
I hate it. It is so scary when you don't really know, when you see like the little like hand around the tree. That
Yeah.
shit is so scary. And then you get this goofy ass deer. No.
See, this is where we split a little bit. I also did give it I gave it a 2 out of 4 for scares and kills,
Hmm.
but I wasn't as bothered by this back half of this movie as you are,
I
and
hate the back
I
half.
I actually think that this is one of the few movies I've seen where showing the monster doesn't completely destroy
It
it for
ruins
me.
it for me.
Like there are a lot of moments where like you can see it tall in like walking around, and it actually is still scary to me. It's not really until like the actual ritual stuff at the end of the movie that it like jumps the shark and becomes goofy.
Yeah, and the ending is just so, without getting too spoilery, this thing appears to be everywhere at this exact same time, but then at the end, it like now can't keep up. That shit's stupid to me.
Yeah, I mean the end
Out.
of every
I'm out.
horror movie kind of
I'm out.
sucks, but I
But
thought
you
it
know
was
what?
scary enough.
Not talking about the monster, everything that happens in that first house, that first night they spend, is
Yeah.
scary.
It's yeah, that's what I'm saying. This
So
is a
I
scary
guess
movie.
I should bump mine up to a 3. I give it a 3 out of 4 because everything in that house is horrifying. That thing in the attic, how they all have different nightmares, that shit is scary. So I am gonna bump mine up to a 3 out of 4.
Okay. And then writing and acting, I'd give it a 1 out of 2. It's good, but not great.
I give it a 2 out of 2
Really?
because I think all of the sets are so cool, and the dream sequences where we flash back to the
That is really
convenience
cool.
store
That is
and like
cool.
all this, I think it's done really well. And it's like,
The acting is good.
yes, it's like you and like three of your friends like out in the woods.
Yeah.
They're like shooting the shit and they're kind of arguing. Like I love that shit,
Yeah.
and I think it was written really well.
I I
You like
yeah.
love every character, then you will also hate them. Like,
I thought the writing was fine,
yeah.
especially towards the back half. I think that's why I bumped it down a point. But I will agree that the acting is really good, and that's what keeps it going. So my final score is a 6 out of 10.
So mine was a 6 out of 10, but because I bumped Skillers and Kills to a 3, it's a 7 out of 10.
And real quick before we move to the bracket, let's catch up on a couple comments here. Jimmy recommended Noroi, a found footage film. We're gonna have to check that out soon. Um,
But it's 115
Jimmy
minutes long.
said, I think it would have been stronger if the monster was more grounded and realistic. Possibly. Um,
Yes and
I don't know how you
no.
make a
I
monster
agree with
grounded.
you. I also, we keep calling it a monster, but it's technically a god, right? So I think that,
Spoilers.
no, no spoilers.
Jimmy says, going too big with the monster removes 80% of the horror every time.
I
Yeah,
agree.
when you show too much of the monster and
It
it's
done. I'm not scared anymore.
yeah,
Yep.
you start to check out.
What's that Conjuring movie where it's like they're all in the house? It's like a little girl, she's sleeping in a bunk bed. Which Conjuring is that? It's the one like,
Where they're in the bunk bed?
yeah, there's the
That's
bunk
Annabelle
beds. That's
creation.
Annabelle
And
Creation. The
she's looking through the crack by
scariest,
the
the
wall.
scariest horror scene I've ever seen in my life is when she opens up that closet and there's a rocking chair with Annabelle in it, and right behind Annabelle, you just see like a silhouette and two glowing eyes. I have
Hmm.
goosebumps right now
It's yeah, it's
because you can't really see it. You just see what you need to see. That is the scariest fucking thing I've ever
but
seen in
then
my
they
life.
ruin it by showing
Then they show it
the
later on,
demon
and
like
it's
way too
stupid.
much.
Yes, but I've got literal goosebumps talking about it. It was so scary, and I think this movie could have just kept the little hand, kept the scary stuff. Would have been way better.
So going over to our bracket, we're putting Nope against the Ritual.
So easy win for Nope.
Nope wins, and so Nope will also be entering the quarterfinals along with Barbarian.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up tonight, I'm gonna go over next week. Um, what are next week's films? Let me just pull up the list to give you guys
Well,
a
hold
little
on.
bit of.
Jimmy said
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Blair Witch is scarier because the witch is just a human. That's kind of why it's scary. But if you've got a giant monster, it may not. Is that what it is? That is kind of scary when you write it out like that. Maybe I haven't looked at
Blair
it.
Witch kind of sucks though, because it's just like
Where's the
there's
witch in Blair Witch?
you never see her.
Oh,
But I do think that the horror elements in the Ritual are better than Blair Witch, like being straight up. Like the actual scary parts where they're trying to scare you are better in
Listen,
The
I'm
Ritual.
really sorry. I'm going to be controversial. I hate Blair Witch
It's
Project.
not great. It's not
It
a great
is
movie.
the worst. It's so long, it's so stupid, and I do not like it.
So next week we're going to be talking about Halloween 3, the new Hellraiser, which came out today, the 2022 Hellraiser. We're going to be talking about History of the Occult, a weird movie that came out last year. We're going to be talking about the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the original VHS, and Black Swan. So that's what's going to be next week. It's a mixture of new movies and rewatches, and then we're going to go through the brackets for those films. Um,
Are any of the movies next week drive-in movies?
yeah, so next week we will be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, which we will be seeing at a drive-in tomorrow.
Which I think is always kind of cheating because the experience of the drive-in makes
Is
the movie
better. It will
better.
make it scarier.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in any of the movies I just listed out, be sure to tune in next week. Thanks for tuning in this
Well,
week. We
wait, you
got
should also watch the movies. So then when you're watching us talk about them,
Oh yeah.
you can talk about it with
So in the
us.
next week, I would recommend checking out any of the movies I just listed. Again, that's Halloween 3, Hellraiser 2022, History of the Occult, Nightmare on Elm Street, VHS, or Black Swan. I'd recommend checking out at least one of those movies. It's October. You owe it to yourself
Get
to watch some
spooky.
scary freaking movies.
Yeah.
Um, Again, yes, Jimmy, I am giving you homework. That is right. Don't get too spooked. Don't have too many bad dreams. And again, everybody, thank you for joining. Any final words?
No, I'm just really excited.
All right. Well, see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Peace out.